Hey everyone, this is Ana Reese, and I will be showing you how I made this Slimline mini book to go right on the trend with the Slimline cards, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I made a mini book with those same dimensions. What I really love about this mini book is that it's made out of cardstock instead of chipboard, but since it's layered, it really gives you the feel and the look of a chipboard album, so that was cool. I also like the fact that I was able to use a lot of paper, stamps, and embellishments that I've had in my stash for a while. So this is a really easy way to use all of your products that you've been wanting to try out. And I will be listing all the supplies I used in this project in the supplies list section, so make sure to check that out, especially to get the names of all the stamps and papers that I used. The Slimline cards that I used are 8.5 by 3.5, and for this project I need 4 cards for the inside and 2 for the covers. The reason why I list them separately is because I use different weight of paper for each. For the inside I use the 80-pound Nina cardstock, and the way you get them is by cutting an 8.5 by 11 sheet. On the long side you cut it at 7 inches, and then you score it at 3.5, and then you fold in half, and that's how you get your card. For this project I used 4 cards, 4 pages, but if you want more pages in your book, then you cut as many as you need. For the covers, the back and the front, I used the 110-pound, which is a little heavier cardstock. I just wanted the covers to have a heavier feel, so that's why I use different papers. So next I am cutting the papers that I will use for my front and back covers. These two specifically I cut exactly to the same dimensions as the pages themselves, which is 8.5 by 3.5. But for the following pages, as you will see here in a few seconds, the ones that go inside of the book, I cut them a little bit shorter because I wanted a little bit of a border around each of the backgrounds. So if you have 8 by 8 cardstock, it works perfectly. All you need to do is cut it at around 3.25 inches, and that's the perfect dimensions to create a little bit of a border around your page. And so I continue cutting these. For this specific project I needed 8 of these, and I just chose different Tim Holtz paper that I had in my stash, but of course you can use any type of paper that will suit the theme of the book that you're creating. By the way, I did not throw away any of the extra pieces of cardstock because I will be using them later on in the project for stamping and decorating. In one of those stashes I found these images, so I decided to cut a few of them because I will use them as embellishments later to decorate the book. And now that I cut all the pieces, now I'm ready to ink all the edges. For this I'm using 3 ink pads. I'm using Vintage Photo, Brush Corduroy, and also Black Soot. And now that I'm almost done inking all the layers that I will be used on my book, now it's time to do the inking on the actual body of the book. To do this, you have to understand how this book will be glued together. So basically, out of each card, you will ink just one side of the card. The back side of the card will be left blank because it will be used to adhere it to the one previous and to the next card in the book. This will make sense in just a little bit here when I show you how they go together. And basically I ink all the edges with black and also with the vintage photo. And then I will show you how I glue them together. But the easiest way to do is just spread the card open so you know that the whole front will need to be inked, and leave the back white because that will be used to adhere it to the card previously and the next card. So one side you adhere to the next card as you see here. And by the way, I'm using art glitter glue for this project. And I like to use these little mini bottles that I just refill as I need to, and they work pretty well. So as you can see, I use the back of the card to adhere it to the next back of the card. And that's how the book is created. So now that I put the body of the inside of the book together, as you can see, you will have white space on the front and in the back. And that is good because that will be used to adhere the actual front and back covers that I'm creating now, using those two sheets that I cut separately with the 110-pound Nina cardstock. For these, you only need to ink just the very front because the actual card will be glued shut, because I only need the very front to adhere to both the front and the back of the book that I just created. I did it this way because I wanted the front and the back cover to feel heavier, thicker, since I'm not using chipboard. And by doing this, it actually feels like a cover. So this is an easy way to create thick covers, hard covers, if you don't want to use chipboard. Here you see me just going over inking some of the little areas that were missing some ink before I adhere the front and the back cover. So this is the front. I'm just using the same art glitter glue, and that's the card that I just glued together and added to the front, and I'm doing the same with the second one to the back. And now I have my little book created, ready to be embellished. So I start by gluing the little panels that I made earlier, and I just choose the colors that I want in the order that I want in the book. And this is how it starts to come together. So now that all the pages have their panels, it's time to embellish them. I will begin by doing the direct stamping to the panels, and I just choose random stamps from all the sets that I have available here that I want to use for this project. And I use either the brush corduroy or the black suit ink, and I just stamp wherever I want the images to be. So this was a really fun part of it, since there's no right or wrong or a place where they should be. You just kind of eye it and figure out where you want the images to be. I decided to use my heat tool just to be sure that they are completely dry before I go to the next page, to make sure that the ink doesn't rub off on areas that I don't want the images to be on. So this was a lot of fun. Like I said, I've had these stamps for a while and I have not used them, and today I'm able to use all of them in one project, so that was kind of fun just to see what the images look like. So the next few minutes in the video, I will pretty much just show you how I got all these images down to the pages. Some of it might feel repetitive, but I wanted to show you each of the stamping that I made, just so you know how I got the stamp on that particular page, in case you're curious. So like I said, it might feel repetitive, but I just wanted to show you each step of the way. So now I start working on my embellishments. I used this vellum paper by Nina, and I just stamped this image of a ruler. I was just kind of playing around and see how I liked it on the page, and I ended up stamping it again with crushed olive because it was not dark enough. It would kind of get lost against the page. So here I'm just experimenting, seeing what I like, and then after this I have to figure out how to adhere vellum to the paper without it completely showing the adhesive. And I ended up using Nouveau Crystal Glaze, which still showed up, but then I just put another embellishment on top of it, and that covered the area, so it came out okay. I know that I bought some adhesive specifically made for vellum, but I couldn't find it. I don't know where it is. I need to go look for that. So the next thing here, I've been having this stamp set for a while and I've never used it. So today was the perfect chance to do that. It's the tiny text stamp. All of these are individually cut, but I decided to just stamp them all together. This is basil paper that I'm using here. And then I'm just going to cut the ones that I want out of it. Instead of, I did this, I thought it would be faster than just stamping individually. So this is a great set. I really like all the different sentiments. So the next few minutes will be of me showing you how I decorated the book. I used a lot of different stamps to create my own embellishments. All of them were also inked with the same brush corduroy or vintage photo or black suit, depending on the background that I was putting it on. But like I said, I just wanted to show you each step of the creative process, and I hope you enjoyed. Here's a few more minutes of me just adding all the different embellishments, and I will show you a little bit later how I also finished decorating the front and the back cover. Here I'm using this set that I've had of the paper dolls by Tim Holtz, and I thought that would go great with this project. So I'm so excited to be able to use them here. I love these paper dolls. I have different ones from different collections. I have some of the Halloween ones, which are super cool. Check them out if you haven't seen them before. And some of them I like that you can stand them up, or they are already made to be put against something to show that they're sitting on. So they're really cool. I really like them. I decided to use one of them for my front cover of a lady that's sitting down, so I ended up creating a little place for her to sit. You will see here in a few minutes when I do the front, but they're so much fun to use. So I didn't know what to do with this back of the book since it was showing some of the white. At first I found this thick washi tape that I thought would work, and I did like the look of it, but it wasn't staying put, so I decided to rip it right back off and just re-ink the area that it took some of the ink out of the front, and I actually like how that came out. So I really like how that little accident came out to be something really cool. So I decided to use one of my paint pens in black just to kind of go over that, and some of the white still shows, but it kind of goes with the look of the book, kind of vintagey and kind of, you know, not perfect. So I ended up just leaving it like that, and I really like how it looked. So I ended up adding some of those sentiments to the front, and I also added a little bit of black soot ink right under them just to give them a little bit more dimension. So the last step after this is just to add a little bit of this black twine that I have. I'm using it as a way to close the book. I know that there's different ways to do this, but I wanted to keep it simple. So whenever I want to open it, I just undo the little bow. And like I said, this is the last step of the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I really like how it came out. I'm really pleased how it actually feels and looks like it's a chipboard book. Once the glue completely dried in all the different layers, it created this beautiful sturdy book. And I think it's cool because if you don't want to use chipboard, this is definitely the next best way. So I hope you enjoy the tutorial, and if you give it a try, please let me know. I would love to know if you created a Slimline mini book as well. So thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care.